sports from a fan's perspective. This is an opinion-based show. This is our opinion. So if you don't like our opinion, oh well. Um, First of all, how you guys doing?
Oh man, doing pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah,
another
same
day.
here.
Yeah,
Yep.
good deal, good deal. It's interesting. The older I get, the shorter time moves faster, right? The older I get, it seems like time moves faster. But I thought
Yeah,
about it, I was like, that just means football season comes around faster. It's right around the corner, guys. Like football season is right there. And
literally.
but today, like when you look at it, does football season actually ever end? I feel like we talk about it year round.
And it's that
Yeah,
way.
Yeah,
yeah,
football,
yeah. It doesn't really.
yeah, even basketball season is figuring out a way to like stick around year round. Like it's talked about enough to where, there was a time where I guess maybe 20 years ago, 25 years ago, there was a time where it was like we were really waiting and anticipating football season, but now the
Yeah,
off season is talked about so much that we're like not really waiting. We are to see the action, but
yeah.
Hmm.
we're consistently talking about it year round.
True. That's true. I agree with that.
Mm.
I think, and I mean, let's just be honest. They made it that way. Everything is a spectacle
Hmm.
nowadays when it comes with all season. When you growing up or whatever, all season was definitely something that they covered, but it was never really it. I don't remember it ever really being super big like it is now. Like the off season is literally like a whole nother season
Yeah,
of
Sure.
any sport
yeah,
Yeah.
for the most part, especially basketball and football. Um, Baseball, I don't think they do a whole like the same amount of coverage as they do in those like football and basketball. Like,
right,
but with football and basketball, it's literally like football season's over with. Then what you talk about, a lot of the free agent moves, uh, cuts,
right,
all these things there. And then after that, it's the draft that's kind of incorporating itself right around the time the NBA playoff is starting. So it's
right.
like they sneak themselves into. Oh, we lost them for a second.
Yeah,
But it's like they sneaking themselves into that realm of we're stretching how long we want y'all to talk about football.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
it does seem like that. And with the coverage of sports, how it's been covered, not only do we got your regular media like ESPN and stuff like that, an NFL network that covers it all the time, but we have the podcast that's covering a lot of things that's going on. So
There you
we
go.
got coverage and we're able to get information from all points. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So it's just
yeah,
like it probably isn't in the grand scheme of things. It probably is covered just as much, but the thing about it is it's much more in front of us because we have so many more news outlets to go to
right,
see what's going on. Social media, this, that, like I said, the podcast, the shows that we got, debate shows that are coming out.
right.
Everything is just out there.
So
Back in
many,
the
so
day,
many networks, so many.
yeah,
Yeah,
so many networks. Back in the day, you only got it from a few networks, and when the season was kind of over with, you might get ESPN that talks about it. You might read the newspaper, or if you had the internet or whatever at a certain time, you might be able to Google certain things that's going on online. But it wasn't a whole bunch of the social media aspect that brings everything to light and makes it like a new culture of, you know,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
for sure. And I think basketball has kind of followed that suit as well.
Hmm.
And I was gonna talk to Gary about this, but I think that baseball is kind of doing the same thing. Like with the All Star game, they had like the swing off, and when
Hmm.
Gary gets back in, we'll elaborate on that. But like even with the MLB drafting and stuff, we've
Hmm.
seen some like we're starting to see a little bit more news. They're trying to make baseball popular again. the thing is, people ask, well, how is baseball able to make so much, generate so much money, continue to generate so much money if, quote, quote, like, it's not as popular as the other sports? Well, for one, look at how many games they play. And baseball is very much a sport that it's one of those things where, like me, I've loved baseball. Like, baseball was the first event that I remember watching,
Mm-hmm.
as a kid like that. It was baseball. Like, I remember watching Ozzie Smith. I remember, watching the Cardinals in the 80s because that's what my grandparents watched. I remember the first the first thing I ever went and looked at the scores for in the newspaper was
Mm-hmm.
Cardinal scores. So, like,
Yeah.
baseball was America's pastime because it was covered on the radio. Like you said, it took the NBA a
Yeah.
long time. NBA didn't really become a thing like that
Until like the
till the
90s, 80,
well,
late 80s,
you could
early,
you
the
could you
mid
could
late
say
80s,
that
early
I
90s.
I will right. I will say this. I will say that Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and Michael Jordan are huge. Are huge. Okay. All right. All right. You back in it.
Yeah, something happened to my camera. I apologize for
Okay.
that, but I'm using my phone now, so hopefully I
Okay.
got everything set
All
up.
right.
All right. Cool. Cool. Yeah, we were talking about, like, baseball. Having
Hmm.
baseball was America's pastime, and uh, I feel like they're trying to get baseball back to where it was. I feel like they're doing a good job. I feel like people are
Hmm.
talking about baseball again a little bit more. I know I am.
Sure.
I know there's a couple guys that I work with that we discussed the All Star game, right? And I was a little bit surprised by that.
Hmm.
We talked about with America, with baseball being America's pastime for so long. It did take a long time for basketball. Basketball wasn't covered like that in the '60s, '70s. The beginning of the '80s, I was saying that, in my opinion, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and Michael Jordan were a huge part of basketball being what it is today.
Yeah.
Like, a huge part,
Yeah.
right? I like when you go back and look at what Magic Johnson did for the Lakers and what Larry Bird did uh for the Boston Celtics. That right there was part of, hey, maybe we need to get live coverage on this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like,
Right.
not record it and then play a day later, right? Maybe we
Yeah.
should work on getting some live coverage. And then you had Jordan that, look, regardless of whether you think LeBron James is better or Jordan is better, that's obsolete when it comes to the conversation of Jordan changed the game of basketball. Like,
Yeah.
he did.
He made it a global sport.
He made it a global sport. Like,
Sure.
it's no way those shoes made it a global sport. You could
Hmm.
say there was other people that dunked from the
And
free throw
this,
line. Absolutely, it was, but
yeah.
nobody flew the way he flew. Like,
Let's
it was just different when he did it, right?
Yeah, it's like just let's just be honest when you talk about it. It's like there's no bigger athlete globally, especially in baseball. I mean basketball than Michael Jordan.
Sure.
Your
Right.
next would probably be, as much as people want to say LeBron, I'm almost certain the next one is Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Basketball.
talking about
Basketball.
Because
global
if
that
that
because
conversation, and
soccer has well,
Well,
soccer is the most
soccer
watched.
supersedes any
Yeah,
of the
sure.
sports that we have here, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
the
But this is
way,
America, so we won't talk about soccer.
right? But like, even, but like, speaking of soccer, right? Like, my son, like, soccer head, and I have no
Yeah.
idea who he's talking about when he talks to me about
Hmm.
soccer. And I don't mean just from one country. He's talking about Korean players. He's talking about
Mm-hmm.
Japanese players. His favorite
Wow.
player is a Korean player. I don't.
Wow.
Yeah, he's talking
Yeah.
about players from like kids that are like 14 years old. He's like, hey, look out for this kid. This kid is gonna be for Chelsea. He's gonna be something. And I'm like, all right, man. He knows like every player from every country. He's like, we were talking the other day, and he was like, yeah, he's gonna be a good striker in like 4 years if they're willing to invest the time in him. He's gonna be a great striker. And I don't know who he's talking about, but I let him talk
Yeah.
to me about it, right? So, and he knows what matchups work for what teams. Like he's like, I understand because they're defensive play. Like Adrian, speaking like at your birthday party, him and Danny were talking soccer, right? You know, Danny
Yeah.
knows his soccer.
He's D-Town knows the soccer, definitely.
And they got to talking. Adrian asked him something about some numbers or whatever. D-Town was like, "Oh yeah, we usually play this." And I asked Aaron when we got in the car to leave. I said, "Hey, what was y'all talking about?" He was like, "Oh, I asked him what kind of defense he likes to play." And no understanding of it, right? And I like to watch soccer, but I don't know in depth
Yeah,
of
that's
what my son knows about soccer.
and people
So
don't really. It's crazy because like I don't think a lot of people really understand how big soccer really is. Like it's not big in the
Yeah.
US like that,
Yeah.
but on a global scale around the world, soccer is the biggest sport. There is no sport bigger than soccer globally. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not.
everybody plays it. I mean, it's
Mhm.
it's just incredible how many people they die hard soccer in other
Right.
countries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. That's why
Yeah.
I had the preference.
Yeah.
Basketball
You
is,
Sure.
you know what I'm saying, and then probably Kobe Bryant right behind Jordan when you're talking about a global aspect of basketball. People want to
right.
say LeBron, but I think there's more Kobe fans globally than there is LeBron fans. Let's just be that's how I
I
think, that's how
I
I view it. But
I can't argue with that. I would, you know, like talking about baseball, like going back to baseball though, how
mhm.
like I think baseball has to sit and say, how do we at least get baseball on the scale of close to basketball? And you don't need the same tools. I think Shohei Ohtani was great, is great for the
Mhm.
game of baseball, but I think there's some more stars in the league that baseball has to embrace. And I think there's a way to do it. I love the fact that this All-Star game, was what it was. It turned out to be great. I love the home run derby. And I could argue that the best All-Star game, baseball does it best right now. Outside of
Me
maybe
too.
hockey. Hockey does it great,
And
but
that's without even
baseball,
looking at it like that much. I would agree.
right.
Yeah.
So baseball has to build off of that and make it bigger again. Because
Mhm.
I watch all sports. Like I go to hockey games. I have season tickets for the Texas Stars. Um,
Cool.
I watch baseball. I watch football. I watch basketball, and I catch some soccer. I watch it, with my son. But I think I'm so adamant about all sports being like bigger,
Yeah.
on a bigger scale is because I had this discussion yesterday. We spend so much time on electronics. Well, kids do. They spend so much time on electronics, and I would love to see it go back to spending so much more time outdoors, right?
Yeah.
And doing those things, and not just pee wee, right? Like just for fun. I remember walking to the baseball field behind Brookhaven, and we played baseball. I remember climbing the fence at Rancer Middle School and us playing football.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I
Outdoor activities.
right. I just
Yeah.
don't. Adrian, I remember me and you. after school, what we do? Go grab that basketball. We was outside
Yep.
playing basketball,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Like even though we had the consoles, we spent more time outside. I remember us playing
A, a
football
lot more
and
than what a lot
basketball,
more than
right?
what the kids do nowadays. Like I remember just
Sure.
growing up and playing football, street football. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Two man touch. So on
yeah,
the street, you got to
yeah,
move out the way when the car come through.
yeah,
We were out there doing those type of things. That's what made it so much of a love for the game. And I don't. Yeah, I would love to see all sports get back to that. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? All sports are like. I remember growing up. And when we was in Germany, we used to play baseball behind, what I'm saying, that little park. We had a park behind the apartment complexes back there
mhm,
playing baseball.
yeah,
So it's just like shoot, growing up playing T-ball, little league, stuff like that.
yeah,
All these
Hmm.
things was just great pastimes for a lot of us and like, unfortunately with a lot of kids nowadays, electronics have taken over, you know, that
yeah,
aspect of going outside and enjoying playing sports or doing things, getting everybody together, knocking on people's doors. Hey man, y'all want to go out here and play some football? You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
going through the neighborhood and you trying to get everybody to route
to,
to gather together. You
right,
might only
yeah,
have 10, 15 people, 12, whatever. It might be an odd number of people. We still played. Somebody was just an
Hmm.
all-time QB, played on both sides of the ball.
Right.
yeah,
Man, those times are just wonderful, man. I would love for
Yeah.
most of these sports to get back to that. You know what I'm saying? Like when you were a
yeah,
kid, it didn't matter what sport it was. You
yeah.
wanted to be
We
outside.
just play. You wanted to
Exactly.
be
Baseball,
outside.
football, soccer, t-ball,
Whatever.
kickball, whatever you could find, you were just
Yeah,
doing something sports wise.
A corner of my driveway would be home plate, and then this stump that
Yeah.
was in the yard would be second base or something. And
Mm-hmm.
you always had that. Like the Sandlot. I mean, it was
yeah,
our childhood
Yeah.
was so much like the Sandlot that yeah, and like you said, you didn't have like one specialty sport that you played. You just played whatever.
Yeah.
And it might be t-ball one day, it might be basketball one day, it might be football the next day. And the all-time quarterback, I haven't heard that term in so long. It's funny.
yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah,
but we've all experienced that, and I think it is a shame that kids don't know that anymore. And
yeah,
it is it the parents' fault? It might be a little bit our fault because we are the
Yeah.
helicopter parents, and we don't you don't just let your kids wander around,
right.
like we used
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think and let's just be honest, some things in society has changed, so a lot of
Sure.
people are a lot more protective of their kids from, because there's so
Yeah.
much that goes on out now. We kind of in the
It's a
mode of
scary world. Yeah.
we're trying to watch out for everything, and the easiest way is to say, okay, let me put this in front of them,
Right.
and then the kids are playing, they doing this all day long, or
yeah,
they got earbuds in their ear all day and that's all they're doing, and they texting and all this stuff like that. Social media is, it's kind of killed the social aspect of how we grew up living, what I'm saying, where
right.
you
Hmm.
actually had to go to somebody's house and see if somebody can come outside and play, things like
Hmm.
that. It's not here. And I think some of that stuff is schools too, because I remember PE, physical education, you go out there and you will do these games. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Play
Well, yeah,
kickball stuff and during physical education. I remember growing up in elementary school, right before the morning started, somebody might have had a ball and we were
mhm.
playing basketball on the monkey bars.
Well,
Cool.
part of that is the system has taken play-based learning out of schools, right? Like the
Yeah.
play-based learning, I think, is one of the most, and granted, it doesn't always have to be sports, but I
Mm-hmm.
think play-based learning keeps kids active.
Yep.
And we've
Yeah.
and hey, I'm again, this is my an opinion, but as somebody that has worked for the school district, I could tell you a lot of these kids are like, it's almost like they're zombies.
Mm.
It's so many devices. They have to learn on devices at school. Then they go home and get on devices. And it's why I believe we have to go back to play-based learning from a younger standpoint when they're in elementary school. So mentally, it stimulates them, physically and mentally. They're, you know what I mean? And it's just, I think that's part of it. But one has to ask themselves as parents, like you said, what can be done. I know things have changed. Look, I struggled with Aaron. Aaron would be like, "Hey, can I walk over to the soccer complex?" And I'd be like, let me think about it, my friends are over there playing soccer, and I'd be like, let me think about it. And then I had to think to myself, I went way further when I was 14,
right.
15, 16. Like I went way further, And then also, Aaron is bigger than me, right? He's been like 15 years old. So I just finally was like, yeah, just, call me when you get there and let me know when you're on the way back, right? That's the thing. We kind of have to find the balance. Obviously, everybody is not in my situation where I have, a teenager that's, bigger than me, but so like nobody, I'm not. I'm like, hey man, if somebody snatched you up, then you wasn't fighting. You had to hop in the van because
failed you as a parent, right?
Right, exactly. But I just would love to see the sports get back on the level of, like we mentioned, football is talking about year round and stuff, and we see a lot more pee-wee football, but I mean like sports as a whole in general. How many stories have we heard where some of these football players that are in the NFL today didn't even start playing any sports till they got to like high school? And it was just because they were like big and a coach reached out, and then it was like, oh, I'll try it, and they, just were gifted, right? We hear that story so often now, and
they weren't burnt out too.
Well, yeah, they weren't. So that's why I want it to be more of not so much in Pee Wee, but more of just doing it for fun. Yeah. We did it for fun every weekend. We did it for fun.
Just doing something.
Yeah, we're doing something. I would love to. I would love to see more of that, and specifically in baseball, I want to see baseball be as big as the other two. And maybe it is to people that have season tickets to a St. Louis Cardinals game or a Colorado Rocky game or a Texas Rangers game. Maybe it is that big to them. But for me, I remember watching Ozzie Smith play. I remember my grandparents watching the Cardinals play. I remember, Uncle Bubba and Mr. Ernest when I was a kid talking about baseball and talking about Ozzie. And I remember that boy is, and I remember those conversations. And and I don't hear those conversations about baseball as much. And one of those things is we have to find, I believe we have to not find more stars because the MLB has stars. We have to find a way to prop them up, I guess, like lean into them a little bit. I don't know. I mean, Gary, you're a baseball guy. Like you call baseball games. You call high school baseball games.
Right.
So what are your thoughts?
Well, I think with baseball, its popularity has grown since the pandemic, I think. Okay. When you look at like Topps, for instance, because if you talk about baseball, you have to talk about baseball cards, in my opinion, especially, and that's for fans that are 5 years old and fans that are 53 like me. You have to talk about baseball cards. I still pick them up every time I grab my wife's medicine at Walgreens, because of the thrill of opening the baseball card and studying the back and the stats and stuff. And I think that's grown in popularity since the pandemic because people started collecting cards and they started talking about baseball cards on social media, especially TikTok. And that saved Topps. Topps was getting ready to shutter, their business. And now they're flourishing better than ever. So that's created a lot of attention. And the stars that you talk about, I mean, there's more international stars in baseball now than I think that there are American stars. You look at Central America, you look at South America, you look at Japan. We've already talked about Ohtani. I mean, he's one of the most popular current athletes in professional sports right now. And he's not going anywhere because he's pitching again, and the fact that he's doing that on top of, winning the MVP and stealing 50 bases and hitting 50 home runs. All that's happening. And I think baseball's doing a great job really capturing the attention of the young players on social media. I think whoever's running these baseball teams' Twitter accounts, they should be paid a lot more because I think the Twitter, social media, and TikTok, baseball's all about the moment. You can sit around and just nothing happens for 3 or 4 innings. And then there's a home run, and then there's a stolen base, or, somebody gets hit by a pitch and maybe there's a fight on the field. But you basically sit around and wait for those things. And through social media, they've been able to capture those interesting moments, the 1 or 2 standout moments from, an individual game, and put that, into a trending social media post or something. So I think it's grown a lot, but I'm forever the optimist. I think right now baseball is more popular than basketball. But I think the women's basketball league is kind of pushing the scale back towards basketball again because of the popularity of Clark and Reese and stuff. But I think there's the All-Star game, which is, was fantastic this year. I mean, you look at all the stories though leading up to the game. You got Paul Skeens and him pitching against Aaron Judge in the first inning and stuff. And that was the exciting thing about baseball. When I was growing up, you didn't have interleague play. So when Randy Johnson went up against Larry Walker or something like that, or a Mariners pitcher, or Fernando Valenzuela was pitching against the American League and he was striking folks out and stuff, that's when you finally got to see those matchups, and that's why you tuned into the All-Star games. So, there's cool moments, and the Derby, I think is the best All-Star game, like sideshow out of all the sports, with the dunk contest being a close second. But even the dunk contest isn't really that much because there's no stars anymore, and there's there's no surprise. I remember when Spud Webb won the slam dunk contest back in the 80s, and that was just so incredible. But that was in between like Jordan and Dominique Wilkins winning them and stuff, and so I mean, all of those, I think all of that has led to a really increased attention for baseball, and I think it's going to keep growing. But like you talked about the swing off, that's a cool new thing that they did in baseball to make it a little bit more interesting, because the players don't want to play 12 innings in an all-star game, because it's not even a game that counts anymore. So the swing off is cool. I don't know if you remember, but back in like 2002, they just ended the game in a tie because they ran out of players, and because of baseball's rules about players coming back into the game and stuff, they couldn't play anymore. But all kinds of, and then they try new things in the All-Star games, like the automated ball strike, challenge systems and stuff, which is so close to how they call whether a ball is in tennis or not,
Yeah.
it's just a cool system, and it's technology catching up and actually making the game better. And and there's just a few other things they did with the All-Star game that really made it cool, including the home run, the Hank Aaron tribute at the beginning of the game was amazing. If you haven't seen that, just Google Hank Aaron tribute for the All-Star game, and it was really cool because it was his 715th home run, which broke Babe Ruth's record. And then it happened on they did the tribute on July 15th was the day of the game, so 7/15. So there was all kinds of cool, and they just did it right. And baseball has their moments where they mess up, and I could list those things for days. But it wasn't this time. they really made a really, really conscious effort to not mess up the All-Star game this year. And I think it's one of the things that they're going to do and that they're doing to make the sport more popular.
Definitely something I got to start tuning into, because that's interesting.
Well, now that the second half of the season is
home run thing.
Now
will
you
say
can actually start paying attention because it's such a long season,
It was one thing I will say that really caught my, when you said after the pandemic, baseball really picked up. First of all, when you mentioned about like baseball cards, I mean, when we talk about cards, that's what everybody say. Even if you was talk about a different sport, you used to say baseball cards, but you picking up basketball cards. You know what I'm saying? So it was always about baseball when it comes to cards, and that's really something that kicked off, because I just now started collecting basketball cards again. I haven't done this in years, and that was another way for you to understand the game or the people that were a part of the game. You know what I'm saying? So that was a big thing that you said that I did like, because it's like that's a pastime for real that a lot of people for a while got away from. You know what I'm saying? Cards were literally dying. Like basketball is only ran by Panini now.
Yeah.
And there ain't upper decks and all that other stuff back in the day. That used to be like 50, like a whole bunch of people with cards. And another thing, and this is going to trip me out, is some of the rule things that they did happen after the pandemic. So my mom, she never used to watch baseball. She didn't like baseball because they used to dip and be able to spit. And so she hated seeing them spit the dip because they used to dip back in the day. Now they can't dip anymore. So she don't have to watch them spit. And now she watches baseball on a consistent basis. And back home, like back in Georgia where they had baseball's big, they watch baseball all the time. They're Braves fans, and that's all they watch. My mom literally gets to the point, I'm 41 years old, and I've never watched my mom watch any baseball ever in my life. And here at 41, she's talking about she's watching baseball now. She will literally record the game. If she misses it, record the game. And she said, as long as nobody tells her about the game being, who won the game, she will watch that game as if it was a live game. On record. Yeah. And I'm just like, what woman is this? You know what I'm saying? My grandma, she's 98, 97, and she still watches baseball. She's always watched baseball. My uncle, he watches baseball and tennis more than he watches any other sport. They are baseball fans, but it's just like, just to see my mom get into watching baseball, just from a simple rule change that they made, to where they can't spit, dip anymore or anything like that. She completely watches all the games now. And I'm like, I'm 41 years old, and I ain't never seen her watch baseball in my life.
Yeah.
So, aside from me playing t-ball, things like that. But and that was the reason
it's funny
why.
you mentioned the Braves. Yeah, the Braves is a funny. Everybody growing up, my age, you had cable television, and you had the WOR and WGN and WTBS. So you'd watch Mets games, Cubs games, and Braves games all the time, and that was pre-ESPN and stuff. So those were the only teams that you watched. Especially, I grew up in Colorado. We didn't have a team until after I graduated from high school. So I knew more
Yeah.
about Braves baseball and Cubs baseball. I grew up with Harry Carey and stuff. I knew
Yeah.
more about those teams than any other team out there. So yeah, there was
Hmm.
we were all almost programmed to love the Braves back in those days. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I know me and Big Will was talking about it one time where we was talking about the NBA and how many stations used to cover it, but being here in Texas and Killeen, you used to be able to get the WGN and watch Bulls games.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
I used to
Oh,
watch
good
Bulls
point. Yeah.
games on it and be like,
Yeah.
whoa. And I've been a Bulls fan, but it's just like I ain't never. But I used to call the little local Bulls fans, and we in Texas, we watching Bulls games. But it used to be, and I think that's another thing that needs to get back to with a lot of these sports is now they're kind of streamlined between a couple of channels, with
Yeah.
ESPN, but back in the day, you used to have ESPN, TBS, NBC, ABC,
Hmm.
TNT, and the list goes on and on and on. Fox Sports. Now we got all of these still. There's a lot of them, but a lot of them are hide behind like some kind of paywall. You gotta have this type. But you used to be able to
Hmm.
get all of that just with a simple cable package, and you
Yeah.
get all these sports, and then you got the local ones that you shouldn't even be getting sometimes. And it's just like,
Yeah.
and I think that's another thing that kind of like with sports and popularity, especially like baseball. You can always catch a baseball game on what you call it, but I
CBS.
like that from what I'm hearing is just like, man, it's just like almost that old pastime for a lot of people is coming back. Like I used when you mentioned that the trading cards, and I was just like, man, I wouldn't mind go out and get a baseball
Hmm.
trading card back. I used to remember growing up, and I used to just go to Walmart, and I might get a pack of basketball cards every time we there or whatever.
Right.
That was just something that made those sports even more bigger than what they are. Now it's just they're
Yeah.
on TV and they're
Hmm.
lackluster. But just about what y'all hearing, I'm loving what I'm hearing about the All Star game and the things that
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
done did to
Yeah.
I
change it.
I'd encourage you to go watch it. It was really fun. Granted, early, I would say probably those first 5 6 innings, I was like, oh, it's kind of it seemed a little one sided a little bit, but the
Sure.
NL they did what they had to do, and um I'm gonna, you know what, real quick, for the people listening that don't know what a swing off is, I'm gonna talk about the swing off rule real quick.
Cool.
All right.
Yep.
Oh, go ahead. What was you gonna say?
I was
Interesting.
gonna add, it sounds like they did something kind of like, is it like how in soccer where they do the kick, like at the end of the
Yeah.
game, if you tie it up and they just do a kickoff where you got
That's a
multiple
good
people
comparison.
just,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what it
Yep.
sounds like to me.
yeah. So the swing off rule in Major League Baseball is a tiebreaker format used in the All Star game, where 3 players from each league get 3 swings to hit as many home runs as possible. The team with the most home runs after all 6 players have completed their swing wins in the game. If there is a tie, each manager selects one player from their team to participate in a head to head swing off until the tie is broken. This rule was first implemented in the 2025 All Star game after a 6-6 tie. So,
That's
It's
so
cool,
dope
isn't
and
it?
I,
exciting.
Yeah.
it was really cool to see. It was really cool to see. So, yeah,
To be honest with you, if you really look at all sports, man, that is probably one of the best All Star game endings you can have, like to try to
Absolutely.
break a tie.
oh yeah,
Baseball kind of almost has it to where there's no other sport that can kind of compete with that. Maybe like a Major League Soccer might be, but but when it comes with baseball, like that rule right there makes it even more interesting for you to stay tuned and
Hmm.
engaged into the end of the baseball game to see what's gonna
Yeah.
happen, especially if it's
Exactly.
close and tied. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is dope. That is dope. I
Yeah.
like that.
Well, I used to like the NBA All-Star games because you would see the great players play together. You know, the
Yeah.
Isaiah Thomases and the Birds and all the great guys you've mentioned before. Jordan and then Kobe when he
Hmm.
came along and Kobe against Jordan. Squaring off and those
yeah,
were so exciting.
Lack
And
of competition killed the NBA.
yeah, it seems like the players don't play as hard. And I know
Yep.
there's a greater risk of injury in basketball than there is in baseball. I mean, aside from folks getting hit or just a freak, trip on the base or whatever, that
Yeah.
might be one of the reasons why the other sports don't emphasize the all-star games as much as baseball does.
Well,
Um, but yeah, I mean, football just gave up on it. I don't even know what football does
yeah,
anymore
they
for
don't.
their
They don't even.
all-pro
They're not
games.
even
The
trying
Pro
anymore.
Bowl games,
Yeah,
flag football, and then all
yeah,
the
it was
little mini
flag, and they
games in
tried
between.
that.
Yeah.
They tried the beach football for a while there,
Yeah.
but then that
Yeah.
Patriot rookie screwed up his knee, and I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, there was but yeah, it's always been fun to watch the players that you really enjoyed watching, whether it be basketball or even football
Right.
and baseball, play on the same team just to see what it would be like.
Yeah.
And that was the thing I always liked about it.
Yeah.
But baseball to me with the All-Star game, there's always moments that I'll remember. Like we talked about Dave Barker a couple weeks ago, and in like the '81 All-Star game, he threw out two players. So it was like his defense was the reason why he was the All-Star MVP in that
Right.
game.
Mm-hmm.
Or Bo Jackson when he hit this monster home run in
Yeah.
his first All-Star game, and then Wade Boggs home run right after that. And
Yep.
there's so
Oh
many
man.
cool
Yeah.
memories. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or there's a moment when John Crook and Randy Johnson are facing off, and Randy Johnson threw probably a 120 mile an hour
Funky.
fastball over his head, and he
Yeah.
turned his helmet around and stuff. And I mean, there's just cool moments in baseball and stuff that,
Yeah.
I don't have those memories from the other sports. That's
Right.
another reason why I think baseball's got the market cornered on All-Star games.
Yeah,
For sure.
and see, like we said though, a lot of times we done spoke about it plenty of times that competition is what kept basketball's All-Star game
Yeah.
alive, and the dunk
Absolutely.
contest. When the dunk contest stopped
Mhm.
having with stars wanting to do it, and then
Yeah.
it kind of became like the sideshow. You know what I'm saying? 3-point contest then elevated above the dunk contest because you got stars that show up in the 3-point contest. I'm gonna
Right.
tell you right now, one of my favorite, well, not the All-Star games, but like when I was watching it, that Steph Curry and
Yeah.
Sabrina
Sabrina,
3-point
yeah, I know,
contest,
dude.
I was intrigued by that. Like
It
I
was
would
fun,
love
yeah.
for them to mix the NBA with the WNBA in those
I'm
facets like
so
that,
glad you
especially
brought
three
that up.
point like with the 3-point contest because that's something that both can do, and
Yeah.
they got some
Yeah,
shooters in the WNBA. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
let me see that. Why didn't
Yeah.
y'all bring that back? Y'all could have expanded to at least been 3-on-3 or something like that,
Yeah.
and have them shoot out like that. I enjoyed that. Um, the dunk contest, it died because I mean, yeah, there's no stars in it. So it's just like, why do I?
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, it's cool that they got these, but you got a G leaguer that's done won it the last 3-4 years.
He's
Yeah.
been
And
dominating it,
I'm
yeah.
not, yeah,
Yeah.
and
He
I'm
has
not
dominated it.
knocking
Yeah.
him, but it's still the fact that this is what y'all are doing. Where is the pride at? You know what I'm saying? Like, where is
Yeah.
that passion at from the top stars? Like, I would love to see a Ja Morant get in there. I would love to see, these
Mhm.
guys that you watch that
Or
I'm
Anthony
seeing y'all jump
Edwards,
out
he
the
can jump
gym
out of the
throughout, yeah.
building, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anthony, y'all jump doing all these amazing dunks in game, but then when it comes to a
Mhm.
time to where y'all can actually showcase your skills, y'all don't want to showcase your skills. And
How,
and then you
how,
got the All-Star game that just the lack of competition.
Uh,
Look, nobody, I'm just gonna be
180
honest
points
with you.
each and stuff, yeah.
yeah.
Nobody wants to see a 180 point score. Because you know
No.
what that dictates?
Yeah.
Y'all didn't play no defense. Back in
Zero.
the
That
day,
means everybody's just shooting threes, yeah.
exactly. So back in the day, in the new All Star format they went with last year, I didn't even watch it. It was I
Me
didn't.
neither.
I watched like the last one where it kind of got a little competitive or whatever. I mean, it brought a little competitive nature, but I hated the format.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then but like when you watch the early 2000 All Star games and back in the day, like with the Magic and Jordan and all them, they played with a sense of pride. Like this
Right.
is an
Hmm.
All-Star game. But guess what? I still want to bust this dude's butt. I still want to get out there and like, yeah, it was a show, but at the same time, in that second half, that show was kind of like, okay, now it's setting in. I
Yeah.
want to win.
Right.
Dang, this show, I want to actually win. And you seen the defense ramp up, and it's just like
Yeah.
now it's just like they don't want to play no defense. They're not even creative offensively anymore. It's just like, well, let's just shoot three threes. I mean, memorable moments. I done had
Mm-hmm.
T Mac coming through the lane, throwing it off the backboard. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he dunking it off the
Mm-hmm.
backboard. Jordan going
Yeah.
1-on-1 with Kobe. You know what I'm
Kobe.
saying? Back
Yeah.
on his
Never
last
forget
All
Yeah.
Star
that.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you got an All Star game where Kobe's literally challenging LeBron to go 1-on-1, and LeBron ain't got you passing the ball off. Everybody looking at you like, what you doing? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? This is your time to shine. Like, we
Yeah.
want to see this. But y'all don't want to give it to us. You know what I'm saying? And so now it's just like, oh, we're gonna make 3 point. No, man. I don't want to see that. And if I ever see an All-Star game where they say, hey, let's make it more exciting, let's add a 4-point line, I'm turning it off forever. I'm not coming back
Yeah.
to watch
Yeah.
the All-Star game
Yeah.
because
You
see
like the
best.
NFL? Yeah.
Exactly. I want to see the best of the best play
Let
like they got some kind of pride, man. Like,
let
I
me
don't
ask you.
care if it's real quick. Just I don't care if y'all are doing it in the middle of the third quarter and y'all decide, okay, now let's turn up. But I want to see that. That's
Yeah.
the exciting part of sports. Let's just be honest. We love to see teams score. Yes, I would love to see my favorite team blow out. But sports is much more enjoyable to watch when there is a sense of tension and urgency. When you at the edge of your
Sure.
seat
Yeah.
and this game is so good and you just like, oh my gosh, who gonna
Mm-hmm.
that's when it gets exciting. That is the most
Yeah.
exciting thing about sports is the clutch time moments. It's the hard. Me and Big Will talked about it. The NBA playoffs was great this year to me, for the most
Yeah,
part.
I
You've
agree.
seen a lot of competition. Them boys came out. You think a 20-point lead, oh, this is a blowout. Next thing you know,
Yeah.
how many games we done seen the
Oh,
team
in the
grind
Oh,
back
playoffs.
from
Yeah.
20?
just
You know
Knicks
what I'm
and the
saying?
Celtics. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like that is
Yeah.
exciting to watch. The 90s was exciting to watch, even 80s back then, because you had games where they were actually they were playing ball. Like it's time to get real and
Mm-hmm.
get into it. So it's like the
Yeah.
physicality and the tension and the being on the edge of your seat, that hypeness that you get in that, it's that's where you want to be at when you watching sports. 'Cause that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Competition.
Well, let me ask you this. So we mentioned that there's more risk of injury with basketball, right? And football, right? So maybe that competitiveness is not there because of that, right? Um, now I wanted to talk about this because we've seen the Achilles injuries and those
Mm-hmm.
injuries have increased since the 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though the technology today is better, today's athlete is supposed to be better, we've seen more injury. And I think that's a part of why these players don't want to do the dunk contest, why these players are not giving their all in an exhibition, right?
That's
I'm
valid.
so, but why are the injuries increasing? I have my own belief. I I believe part of it is they don't practice as much.
Yeah.
One, like they don't practice as hard, right?
Sure.
But
Sure.
but not only are they not practicing as hard, they're not they're not playing proper basketball in AAU. I think AAU has a lot to do with it because they're playing so much more, but they're not training
Yeah.
properly, right?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
playing several games a week without the training,
Yeah.
and so by the
Yeah.
time you get to the league, you've learned how to you're better in a sense of IQ wise, right? Or so to speak, is what they say, right? That everybody
Mm-hmm.
has a better I disagree with that.
Yeah.
But apparently they're supposed to be better because they play all these games and they're so athletically conditioned, but they're not. They're
Yeah.
not properly fit for this. We talk about, the
Mm-hmm.
80s, as hard as they played in the games was as hard as they were practicing. That gets
I
documented.
mean,
That's what they say. They say
it, it
we practice as hard as we play.
but not only
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
though. It's just think about it. Like back in the day, the 80s, the 90s, you had these, and they still were going out smoking and drinking and all
Yeah,
kinds of things. And then they go out and they play a full game of, and looking at a lot. They say Jordan, he smoked cigars on a regular. He be out there
yes,
partying. How many
Yeah.
times that you can look at his, bring up his 16-year NBA career or whatever, and how many games has he missed? There's so many games on that list: 82, 80, 82, 82, 82. And you looking at all these dudes, they playing 80 something games.
Yeah.
Now it's like 50 is about 50, 60 might be your average,
yeah,
especially with stars. There's a lot of stars, and I believe that it is that. And I think Kevin Garnett said it as in one of his podcasts that he was saying that they don't practice. They don't, and it's just like you can't sit there and all you're doing is just playing in game, in game, in game, and then you thinking that it's just gonna be it. It's like, but you're not practicing the game. You're not focusing, and you're not working your body to be built for your craft. You know,
yeah,
shoot around is not practicing. That's just shooting the ball. I mean, it is practicing on your shot, but
yeah,
it's different than like you going through actual training, suicides and doing all these 6 inches and all these other things that we used to do. We used to do in like just like physical education. You used to do this stuff in there to limber
Yeah.
up your stuff. Do things like that. That helps your body grow strength.
yeah,
So now you can make that same move versus like how nowadays it's just like, well, all I did was shoot the ball. Then I'm gonna come in a game. It's like me going outside shooting the ball right now and then playing a full 5-on-5 at a park. I ain't
I'm
in no park
Hmm.
shape to go play and shoot no basketball just because I done shot a
Hmm.
few shots. You know
I'm
what I'm saying?
I'm glad you
Hmm.
brought up. I'm glad you brought up the fact that they're shooting shoot around, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
that's another aspect of the injury, right? Now, so many of the teams, they're just sitting on the perimeter and they're just waiting to shoot the three. It's very few Currys out there because Curry is that player. He is
Yeah.
constantly running to get open. But now
Mm-hmm.
it's a bunch of just pass on the perimeter, pass on the perimeter. The players aren't moving as much.
Yeah.
There was a time where
It's a stat game.
whether you played
Hmm.
triangle or whatever kind of offense you were playing, there was a lot of movement within the plays, and they're not moving as much. Let's just
Yeah.
be honest.
It's all
It's all pick and roll.
isolation. Yeah.
It's all
Isolation
isolation,
pick and
right?
roll. We're
Pick
gonna
and
do
roll,
a high
yeah.
pick and
So
roll.
Hmm.
so that
And
has a big part to
yeah,
do with it too. Kevin Garnett brought that up in one of his podcasts. He like they ain't moving the same way we used to move. They
Sure.
they they sure ain't
mm-hmm.
doing it in practice. And
Yeah,
and 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 so I think
Yeah.
that has a huge part in injury. Um,
yeah, I agree.
Hmm.
we we also talked about an All-Star game with having the WNBA kind of merge some of the things with the NBA. The WNBA, first of all, let because I wanted to talk about this too. Um, First of all, I'm one of those people. You can like Clark and Angel Reese. You don't have
Yes,
to pick a side.
you don't.
There's
Sure.
so much side picking. First of all, Clark, I think she's gonna be a great player. I think she is a
Yes.
really good player, right? Is she the best player in the league? No, she's
No.
not, right? Uh, but she is the draw. But here's the problem. Here's why the numbers are not reflecting that. Are there people that are absolutely going to go see her play? For sure. The
Sure.
problem is so many of her fans are not necessarily basketball fans, right?
Yeah,
She
No.
that makes
has
sense.
fans that are not really basketball fans.
They have
So
an agenda. Yeah.
they have an agenda, right? It's
Hmm.
different, right? I watch WNBA because I like watching WNBA. Personally,
Yes.
I think
Hmm.
Clark she's really good, but I think she has to work on some things on defense, and I think she needs to work on not turning the ball over as much. Like, but if I say that, I'm being a hater. No, I'm speaking from somebody that enjoys watching basketball. I didn't say she wasn't good, right?
Yeah.
Angel Reese worked on some things that I thought she should have worked on, which was being able
her
to
game's
be
a lot better this year than last year.
right.
Yeah.
She worked on some things I thought she should have worked on, which was control offensively, right? She has to understand control and spacing, right? Those were some things that I felt like she should have worked on, which she did, right? She did. The whole me bound thing, like I know when I'm talking to an actual basketball person and somebody that's just like following the trend, right? The whole me bound thing.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, do you understand how important an offensive rebound is? Second,
exactly.
Yeah. Second of all, if you understood the numbers, if she has 16 points and 11 rebounds, and 2 of those rebounds were offensive rebounds, that like, come on, like you can't say me bound, right? So,
exactly, yeah,
right?
For real.
So that's when I'm like, there's no point in having the discussion with this person, right?
You need to be more efficient. Yeah, of course. You would like to be more efficient scoring, but
sure.
I mean,
yeah,
it's just something that takes time. Yeah,
every day of the year, you know.
Yeah. Well, and all those things that you pointed out that the NBA has stopped doing, the WNBA is doing. So all that, the moving around, the movement, for the players who don't have the ball, and the playing hard in the paint. I mean, not taking so many shots. I mean, I saw Brittany Griner had a great game the other day, and she was just making those dream, turnaround, shots and stuff. And, she looks like she was 10 years younger in that game. And, but yeah, I mean, there's just the fundamentals. If you want to teach your kids fundamentals, have them watch WNBA instead of NBA.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And that's what I think a lot of is like we were saying with AAU. A lot of fundamentals of the game is not taught anymore. So I think that's a lot of the problem that we're dealing with. Is like you lack it. It's boring. And you wonder why viewership is down because it's boring. There's no fundamentals. They playing this. Every team is playing the same way. This is boring.
Have you noticed that the European players offensively, it looks so effortless for them. It's effortless for them offensively. And the reason is because offensively, they just do fundamental basketball.
They practice better,
Yeah, they practice better. Now, are they defensive liabilities?
Yes. A lot of them are definitely defensive liabilities, but
But and I mean, even when we look at the Canadian players, there's a lot of, look at OKC. What is it? Two or three of their players are Canadian.
The best one in the league is technically Shai Gilgeous is from Canada. Jamal Murray is Canadian.
Yeah. So, like when we look at what can we do here in America, we have our Anthony Edwards, and we have American stars, right? But I might get backlash for saying this, but I personally don't think our American NBA players have any passion for the game. I think they're doing it because it is a check and it's something that they can do for great money, right? I don't think they are as passionate about it. Now, we could say Nikola Jokic is not passionate because he's always rushing to get back home. He's like, what? I have to stay for a parade? I got to get to my place. Right?
A parade's not the game, though,
but exactly, he's definitely just about business. It's just like, this is what I come to do. This is what I get paid. I don't care about stats. I care about the win, and then moving on. It's like the next
and then
game.
he still averages a triple double, though.
And can't nobody stop.
Insane. Yeah.
So
He's a
it's just like
unicorn. Yeah.
Yeah,
can't
he
say
is.
nothing about it. It's just like, well, I can't say anything because he's dominating the game, and then he goes
Right.
off and does his own thing. It's just like, well, it's not a big there, especially when you think about their culture in general. It's not a big all that extra flashy stuff for most of them. It's just like, well, this is business as usual. I
Well,
come
Yeah.
here, I get my job, and I'm going home.
yeah. And I think he's doing it right because he's not playing basketball during the off season. He's out
Yeah,
racing horses and spending time with his family. And I think
Yeah.
I saw him like sprinting against a Chinese train or
I,
something the other
I,
day. You
I,
know,
yeah, yeah.
just having fun. I mean,
Fun.
yeah, that's there's a time to relax and there's a time to get
yeah.
serious. And I think he knows that line better than any player in the NBA.
Well, historically, we've seen the better players.
Oh yeah.
The better players have been able to do that. Like they unwind. They
Oh,
literally
Hmm.
unwind in off season.
Yeah.
Magic's time away, Michael Jordan's time away
Time away.
from the
Yeah. Dennis
court is
Rodman's time
legendary.
away.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Like the
sure.
legendary
Those are
story
great
about
points. Yeah, those are great
Dennis
examples.
Rodman going to the club all night and like
Yeah.
him like getting there
Marrying
like
Carmen Electra during
lecture.
between games. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like and being able to come and I can't remember. I want to say it might have been Kevin Garnett. It was a story where they talked about like Dennis Rodman like after the game was like on the treadmill with boots on. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Hmm.
Like just
Yeah.
like random stuff like that. Like so they were like
Sure.
conditioned differently.
But
And
not only that, it's just they didn't play around when it came with the game.
Hmm.
I think we talked about it before, but people like Dennis Rodman, the way that they studied the game, their
Sure.
craft
oh
is
yeah,
unmatched. Like I mean, he talked about literally like he sat there and he watches everybody shoot the ball at the rim, so he knows exactly how it spins off the
Yeah.
rim.
how
That
many
level of
rotations and
detail, yeah, he
yeah,
knows whose shot is gonna how it's gonna come off. He knows how Jordan's shot was gonna come off. He knows how I mean Isaiah's shot was gonna come off. It's just like when you are taking that level of detail to your craft, it
Yeah.
is incredibly. It's incredible the difference and that's why I can't get with this day and age. These athletes are better, bigger, stronger. We got all this stuff here. They might be, but your IQ is nowhere near what they were. Like
yeah,
they're not. I don't know any of them that are studying the game that in depth like that. Like
Yeah.
I'm literally watching the ball spin a certain way, how you
Oh
shoot,
yeah.
how this person shoots. I've heard like stories about I heard going to football. Marshawn Lynch talked about how the scouts were and how like Ray Lewis knew he's talking about something about Ray Lewis was
oh yeah. I know.
knowing
Yeah,
exactly what plays they were going to run, like New England,
yeah,
when Tom
Hmm.
Brady sat
Yep.
a certain way. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? With foot was back or
Wow.
whatever, he knew they was running, they were passing. A scout from New England was talking to Marshawn Lynch and said, "Hey, look, when you do this, and it's just like a simple thing that you're doing that's
Yeah.
tipping them
Yeah.
off of what you're
Hmm.
going to do on the field." That level of dedication, I don't think they have that passion anymore.
Yeah.
And that's a
Yeah.
whole different thing of the game. It's like y'all don't have that
Yeah.
same type of passion. And it's
Yep.
just like how Jordan spoke on. I mean, and honestly, I think because the money is so big that
Hmm.
it's and players are built upon they're paid upon potential. They're not paid upon what you actually can do. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's great that you can run, jump against like
Hmm.
in college and you jump out the gym and you got all these guys coming out after 1 year and stuff. That's great. You look
What?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how dedicated are you to the craft of the game?
That
Yeah. Yeah.
and me and you talked about wide receivers today.
Mm-hmm.
Debo Samuel wants more money for what? What'd you do last year? But why? Like and granted, you're trying to fight
Get
for
my
your
damn
money.
blood
That is
pressure up.
fine. But it's just like that rookie that Cincinnati picked up. He got
Mm-hmm.
his guaranteed money, but he was like, "I'll go back to college if you don't give me my guaranteed money." But we haven't seen you play a snap in the NFL.
For
Sure.
real. Like, come
Yeah.
on, man. That's
You know,
that's
like
what that's what irks me so much about them being able to make this much money. It's like I don't have a problem with anybody getting your money, but I know that a regular person that works a 9 to 5, if you don't do your job, you ain't got a job.
Yeah.
You
Oh
feel
yeah,
me?
yeah,
You come, yeah, you might come to the table, but you don't come to the table and say, like, they say, well, this job is $14 an hour, whatever it is, and you be like, well, I'm worth 20.
I blame
You
Sam
might be
Bradford.
worth 20,
But
but
you're
this is
not.
not what we're offering right
Yeah.
now. This is
Hmm.
what it is, and if you aren't performing like we want you to perform, you ain't getting 20.
Yeah,
We going to the next candidate. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like, it's like you have to earn your stripes.
yeah,
And I don't
Hmm.
mean like and this is what I think a lot of these athletes do nowadays. Contract year, y'all go balls to the wall. You get your
yeah,
contract, then you don't want to play no more.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How many guys are sitting out, not going to training camp when there's still 2 years, 3 years left on their
On their
deals,
Yeah,
you know? And
yeah,
you're like,
exactly.
just because some other guy who you played the same position as got a raise and you think you're better than him, you know, just like what Watt did because of the raise that the guy from Cleveland got, you know,
Yeah,
or the raise,
yeah.
you know,
Miles
that
Garrett. Yeah,
exactly. And it's a cycle and it keeps
yeah.
happening.
That
And
that's
yeah,
why I gotta
go ahead.
have a little bit of respect for Micah Parsons, because I'm of the belief that Micah Parsons does deserve a little bit more, but he is still
He's still
kind of
camp, yeah.
handling it.
Hmm.
He's handling it in a professional
Hmm.
manner. He's like, hey, look, I just
And
gotta go
it's
play.
hard with Jerry Jones as your manager and general manager too. I
Ain't it
mean,
though?
I watched the press that Jerry Judy did, and I mean, it's a it's a circus in Dallas every
It
year
is.
because you
Yeah.
you just don't know, and now now everybody's talking about how great the Cowboys offense is going to be this year because Dak's going to be healthy and they added a new receiver and yeah, who knows, but like you guys said, I mean, none of that matters if you don't study. And, you know, there's a great video that I saw the other day, and it was Greg Maddox and Barry Bonds both talking about a plate appearance that they had against
I
each
saw
other.
that video. Yeah.
And it's so amazing because Greg Maddox, and they're both not only, great students of the game, but they're both genius level athletes.
Athletes.
And
Oh,
hmm
absolutely.
Maddox is like, well, at this point, he's probably looking for me to throw here, so I'm going to do this. And Bonds comes back and he's like, yeah, he probably thinks I'm going to be looking at this, so he's going to throw here. And they were and he might have fouled that one off. And he's like, okay, you got one on me on that one. Okay. And then
Yeah.
like 2 pitches later, he destroys it, out of the ballpark or whatever. But it was so cool listening to they weren't even in the same room, but they knew what the other guy was thinking.
Thank
And
you.
that
Right. I
was
saw that
that
video.
was that was such an impressive video.
Again,
And it
within the
just
game.
it
Yeah.
goes back to how you're talking about Rodman and the bounces or Marshawn Lynch and however Tom Brady's leaning and those students of the game, that's what makes it fun, just
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
That's
letting
that's
them
why
talk about it later is really, really fun.
offensive linemen started covering their knuckles.
hmm
Sure,
Yep.
sure. After
Yeah.
that, after that Eagles
Yeah.
movie or whatever, yeah,
Yeah.
funny.
You know, I'm glad you brought up Barry Bonds too, because
No
he should
Hall of Fame.
definitely be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, Hall of Famer, absolutely.
doubt.
Let me just rant for a minute. All right. To
Cool.
the people that believe that he should not be in the Hall of Fame, I would say that you just don't know baseball, because there
Hmm.
is so, regardless of whether you think he's on roids or not, there is so much more to hitting a baseball. There is
Hmm.
so much
Yeah.
more to hitting a home run than simple strength.
Yep.
Swing, understanding of
Yeah,
pitches, understanding the pitcher, all of
Yep.
that takes study.
sure.
And there is a certain level of talent beyond that that you have to have. and Barry Bonds
Mm-hmm.
had it. Like
Yep.
understand base, Barry Bonds had it, and
And it's funny because he was smacking home runs before he got to that
well
point where you
before.
see him hitting
Hmm.
70 home runs. It's like it's not like he just out of the blue was just
He
all of a
was a Hall
sudden.
of Famer before he even went to San
Yes,
Francisco.
San
Yeah.
Francisco.
yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
We're back on baseball, but I wanted to ask you. It just came to my mind. Um, the era of Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire, that back and forth. I
Hmm.
know that was such a fun time
Yeah, it
in
was.
baseball. I think for the casual fan, we need another one of those.
Yeah.
I think for the casual fan, we need another one of those. Maybe
Well,
Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani.
well,
You know,
look at Cal Raleigh up in Seattle. I
Seattle.
mean, the catcher
Yeah,
for the Seattle Mariners or the pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. I mean,
yeah,
there's a lot of cool. This guy's coming up to the plate, so we're gonna stop everything we're doing and we're gonna go to this at bat, like they used to do with McGuire and Sosa, or
McGwire
even
and Sosa.
Bonds when he
Yeah,
broke the record. Yeah,
yeah,
there there could be potential, or you even said Aaron Judge.
yeah.
That guy is, or we even saw it last year, as a matter of fact, now that you mention it, when Shohei was getting ready to become the first 50-50 guy.
Oh yeah.
They were literally
They were
cut.
to it.
There, he's on
Yeah,
first base.
yeah,
This could be the time. So
yeah.
yeah, there's moments that if the networks are doing their job right, like they were in 1997 or
So,
whenever the year that was,
98.
you know, yeah, the networks have as much responsibility to make the sports as great as they are, and they've got enough networks out there. I don't know how they're messing it up. I think the big problem now is there's too many people talking about sports instead of just watching the games.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah,
I
Yeah,
had
yeah.
as a
I had
thing.
to force myself to get away from that instead of watching all the garbage in the morning. Of everybody talking about sports, actually watching the
Want to watch it?
games
Yep.
at night.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's a lot better experience, believe me.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to hear about the New York Jets every day either. So I don't tune into ESPN because
Yeah.
they've been
Aaron
irrelevant for
Rodgers
50
and all
years,
this
and that's
other
all everybody
stuff.
Yeah.
talks about him. Well,
Yeah.
even now they're like, "Oh, give me a reason why I should be hopeful in New York," and I'm like, "Why are we even talking
About them. Yeah.
It,
about it?" Yeah.
Exactly.
it,
Yeah.
the problem about what, especially with the media on today, is the fact that it's like everybody talks about the same topics. It's like it's the same topics all day long.
Well,
Like, I
in
haven't
20,
watched. I was gonna say I haven't watched, like I usually watch First Take in the morning just because it's something to watch.
yeah,
It'd be interesting or
sure,
whatever. But after that, my TV goes off. I don't watch
yeah,
another sports thing all day long because they're gonna talk about the same thing all day long, the same topics all day long. And now I haven't watched even First Take. I haven't cut on this. Like I get in here and in my office when I'm at work, and usually I cut my TV on and just have it in the
hmm,
background playing.
sure.
I think 2 weeks now I haven't cut this TV on once in the morning to watch a single sports show, and I just think that it's a lot more refreshing sometimes because now when I do see topics, Big Will might send me something, or I might see it on my phone, like a little topic here and
Sure.
there, or I'm on YouTube and I might see somebody talk about something, and it's like I can control what I want to watch
Right.
versus
Hmm.
I'm watching the same
Yeah,
thing, like when
yeah,
we were
like the
saying
Braves
about
and
like. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Or like when I was talking, we haven't talked about it yet, but like the whole one-on-one basketball thing that they got going on with Michael
Mm.
Beasley and stuff they doing one-on-one.
Oh
It
yeah.
was just like I haven't seen that covered anywhere, but I seen it on
Yeah,
YouTube. And
Yeah.
it's just like, why
yeah,
aren't we talking about this? Like why isn't this a
yeah,
talking point for some of y'all? It's like these are the different topics that we get instead of watching the mainstream media speak on it. It's like
yeah.
I like it's like going to a barber shop. This is why I love our podcast. Is because yeah, we might touch on the things that they might be touching on, but we go into other things that we talk about that nobody's really talking about right now. And it's just like we brought up the NIL needing a salary cap one time. I don't know how many people were talking about this, but literally after that episode, I see something on Facebook. Deion Sanders said they need a salary cap, and I told Big Will, like, we just spoke about this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, that's the beauty.
Well, he thinks that now with Travis Hunter gone. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, that's the beauty of sports talk.
Yeah.
That barbershop talk. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's what makes sports interesting. I don't want to see the mainstream media all the time. Like how you said, it's their job to make it exciting to watch when you're watching it and coverage of it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I would like for y'all to cut to what's happening here so I can see a game that I might not be able to see because I don't have Major League Baseball, their League Pass, or NBA League Pass, or any of these premium channels I don't have, so I can't catch it. But if y'all cut to it and show me this, oh man, that'd be great to see and watch.
It'd be great to see
right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Like I wish they would, you know, put more coverage on the Ice Cube's basketball league, 3-on-3.
Yeah, big three. Yeah,
the big three.
Yeah.
Like more coverage of those things. Like let's get excited about other things versus the main. You know, and I understand it. It's all about like the corporate entities and
they've invested so much money in those sports. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so, you know, hey, I get it, but the one-on-one thing, what do you think about that, Adrian? One-on-one basketball being a thing.
Man, I like it. I'm gonna be honest with you, I like it. It's a fresh take. You know what I'm saying? Because then, like, if you get certain people playing one-on-one, that whole X, Y, and Z person is better than that. But I like it from the standpoint of watching it and thinking about it in boxing terms. When you see boxing, they got the hype for it. You could, you know, you can get the media buzz for it. Like, oh, I got this person versus this person. They're playing for X amount of dollars, whatever. But it could be hyped up as an event. And then you get to actually see, like, NBA players go at it one-on-one.
You could have cards building up to the main event and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, I never thought of that way. That's good. That's good.
You could take that whole boxing type format and you can create a whole event out of this whole entire experience. I don't care if y'all going to 21 or 30, whatever it is, and you have your set of rules, but it just is another element to make basketball a little more elevated to me. You know what I'm saying? It brings the sport to another where we're watching the NBA and the NBA is kind of faltering because let's just be honest, it's boring to watch it throughout the whole year because you're watching the same game and half of the time they're not even playing hard. But one-on-one, you bring out this one-on-one basketball league or whatever, and you see these dudes is really, it's just mano-a-mano. Now we got to get it. Competition is coming back.
Right.
And I think I just love that aspect of, like, competition. It's just like, if I was to put it in terms, just thinking about how boxing has done with one-on-one or UFC, and you have a main event undercards, just imagine your main event is Carmelo versus LeBron or something like that in a one-on-one. Now, of course, you know, this is something that they probably have to do after they're retired or something like that, or off season or something like that. But
if you can't get LeBron to do a dunk contest, you're not finna get him to do a one-on-one because the main reason he hasn't done a dunk contest is because, God forbid, he lose on something one-on-one or something where it's just him, right?
Yeah, so but
let's just call a spade a spade.
That was just, a headline match. You know what I'm saying?
That would be my issue with it, right? I love the idea. I love what you're saying. All of that sounds great. The biggest problem with it is, okay, we have the big three, and these are players that are retired and they're continuing to play. They want to do it. My issue becomes when you get to calling out players that have no desire to do it. Like Carmelo Anthony has no desire to do this, right?
Well, yeah.
He has his podcast. What is it? 3 a.m. in Brooklyn or whatever it's called. It's a really good podcast. My apologies for butchering the name if I did. It's a good podcast. I enjoy watching him do it. He has he's focused on his son playing basketball.
Yeah.
Right.
We
Yeah.
understand that.
Right. But my issue becomes when we start calling out players that don't want to do it. Now, Lance Stevenson, you want to call somebody challenge you out, or the players that actually want to do it. I think it would be great. I think it would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Well, and I love the boxing analogy because you talked about the undercards, and there are so many great main events that have been hyped up, and we don't even remember them anymore because there was an undercard matchup
Mm-hmm.
that lived, that just shocked us. I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah,
remember the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight.
No
I don't
God.
even remember their fight, but I remember those two girls that fought before that, and that was
Mm-hmm.
like the
amazing.
fight of the
Right.
night.
Yeah,
And there's so many possibilities of undercard matchups becoming better than you expected that I
right.
Yeah,
think that thought is really what's resonating with me.
yeah.
Right.
And honestly, if you really want to think about it, if you want to put it in perspective to like have players, and we know some are gonna do it, some aren't. I mean, it's just what it is. That's how it is.
Mhm.
But the NBA can incorporate it into like a 6-man tournament for the All Star game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what
1-on-one.
I was thinking too. Yeah, they can make
Just think about
Yeah.
that. You
The
know what I'm
All-Star
saying? Like,
game a one-on-one
who?
thing. Yeah.
Let's just be honest. Who watches
It's a
the
good
the
idea.
skills challenge?
They have their in-season tournament. I thought that was a great idea. The in-season tournament that they did
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
made,
try to
the
give some
beginning, because
competition. Yeah.
Yeah.
in baseball you never really care about what's happening until the All-Star break, and that could shift your focus more to the beginning of the season, April, May, June,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a stretch of games that actually matter because of this reason, which is,
I tell
the
you,
in-season tournament.
one thing that I've thought about, and I know it's been said before, like when you're talking about like let's just say the NBA All Star Game competition levels kind of dying. Everybody now they try to do it. They try to bring it back by incorporating your charity and things like that. I think they should have did it like how the baseball used to be. I don't know if it's still the same now, but baseball, I remember, if correct me if I'm wrong, but whoever won the All Star game, didn't they have home field advantage in the World Series?
They stopped doing that about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That
About
was
10
the
years.
rule after that tie game. They said,
Yeah.
okay, now if whoever wins, but now it's whoever has the better regular season
Right.
win
Mm,
loss
In
totals.
between the
So
NL and
so
the
the
AL.
whole season, counts. That's the reason. I agree with this one. So it makes
Yeah.
the
yeah.
regular season matter a little bit more, especially with more teams playing in the playoffs than as opposed
Mm,
to like maybe 10 years ago. That
years
was,
now.
yeah, but
Just
yeah,
thinking about
it's
it for
continuing
the
to grow. Yeah.
Right.
but my thought
Exactly.
process behind that, trying to bring the level of competition back into the All Star game, that's what one thing I would even
Yeah.
try to think.
That's a great
If
idea.
the East or the West team, whoever wins, because we know basketball doesn't end in a tie. Um, if it does,
Right.
I've never seen it. But if the East or the West wins, then that team has home court advantage. Now, there's going to be some backlash against it. It's just like how we had backlash against the
So,
in season. I mean, not the in season tournament, but uh the tournament at the end, the play-in
oh,
tournament.
yeah, the
There was a lot
playing.
of
Yeah.
backlash in the play-in
The
Yeah.
tournament.
playing is a
But
great
how
idea.
exciting how that did that become?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just like, hold on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
No.
No, yeah. The play in ended up being a great thing for the NBA, but I would say that your idea on making it where if the Western Conference wins, then they get home court advantage, whatever. But I don't think it matters the same way in basketball. And
Yeah.
the reason I say that is because you have obviously you know, like for example, you had OKC versus Indiana Pacers. You know what I noticed in that finals? Nobody cared about, like, they gave
Yeah.
it their all regardless of where they was at. Like,
Sure.
I don't. This
That's
is
facts.
one of those finals where I felt like home court didn't matter.
Yeah.
That's a fact. This is a
You
fact.
know,
The All-Star games lost hope.
Well,
Try to bring back
and-
some kind of hope, or unless you're gonna bring like
but-
a new event. Like I said, the one-on-one. I don't know anybody that wouldn't watch a one-on-one tournament if some of this, but of course, you need
I
the
would watch it.
stars to participate.
Gary, you would
Yeah.
You
watch
need the
101.
stars.
I would watch it. I would watch, and it wouldn't even have to be stars. I would like to see, if you told me that, I don't know, take Aaron Gordon, you know, who's probably the third or fourth best player on the Nuggets, and team him up against, I don't know, some random, you know, find a rival team, you know, like maybe the Lakers or maybe the Wolves or somebody, and put those two against each other in a, you know, matchup in an All-Star game, one-on-one format. I'd watch that, especially if it's somebody from my team, you know, and not, you know, bragging rights because a player that I, you know, root for or whatever wins, you know, which is another thing baseball did this year, and they've been doing, is they make sure that there's a player from every team that represents, you know, their All-Star game. You know, having that vested interest, you know, that's another big reason why a lot of people tune in.
Yeah.
I would watch it. I think it would be exciting.
I would watch it.
It's a fresh.
And it'd be different. It'd be a fresh take. Absolutely.
Yeah, play the game to 21 or
Now-
playing the game to
now
11, whatever they're going to do.
Let me ask you
If
this.
they played
Let me
horse, I'd watch it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this then. Just to you know, we're speaking of doing this for All-Star game, right? These players have to be willing to do that.
I mean,
If you force them to do it, you're not going to get a great product.
But that's the whole point. I mean, yeah, they have to. They're gonna have to be.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
We know that. That's gonna be the nuance.
But
it's just the fact they gotta want to do
if-
it. But it still would be
I
exciting.
think the
to watch
people that
one-on-one.
benefit, the individuals that benefit from basketball or baseball or football becoming more relevant and more popular, the people who benefit the most are the players themselves. So they have as much of an invested interest in putting out a quality product as anybody. So until they kind of rediscover that mindset, you know, I don't know what to tell them. You know, I'm not a psychology major. I don't know how we can convince someone to play harder, you know, other than, you know,
You really can't.
you know, finding them or, you know, doing something, you know, drastic, taking their money, which seems the only thing they care about. I don't know how else to
Being that
to make those things more important. Yeah.
Yeah, if we kicking out the ideas and then there's no interest in it, then at the end of the day,
Exactly.
my whole thought process would be like, well, you might as well shut down the All-Star game. Not even
Might as well. Yeah. That was going to be my next
And
suggestion.
then,
Yeah.
It can't be an incentive for you.
Why
to
waste your time? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know how they got it on the contract. You make the All-Star game, you get X, Y, and Z more money.
Exactly.
Nope, that can't even be part of your contract. There is no. Didn't you just wipe that completely clean? All-Star.
Yep.
All-Star appearances is no longer an accolade. Boom, gone. Because if there ain't gonna be an All-Star game, there shouldn't be no All-Star accolades. You shouldn't have an All-Star. So, therefore, you lose millions of dollars that way as far as a player. Because guess what? You can't even get that incentive no more. So
that's fair.
You know.
That's
so
fair.
it's on the players. At the end of the day, it's on the players to make it exciting. That's it. There's nothing else. You can put anything in there you want. That's why I think that my thing is, one thing I would like to see them is bring the WNBA more with the 3-point contest. I would love to see.
I like that.
The WNBA NBA players, WNBA versus. You could say versus each other, or you could say just in general. You know.
Yeah.
We got 4 NBA players. We got 4 WNBA players.
Yeah.
Let's just go ahead and kick it off that way. You know what I'm saying? Who wins out of that? It done less how many people from the NBA can play in the 3-point contest, and yes, it is an NBA event. Or you could do, okay, well, we have another segment of the 3-point contest, which is the mix of the two, with just maybe 2 or 3 people, and then you still got your regular NBA 3-point contest with the regular stars. I don't know, whatever you want to do, but I feel like that was the most exciting part of that NBA
Sure.
All-Star game was when
I
Steph
agree.
Curry and old girl was going at it.
That's amazing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So and it's just and also it will help with bringing the WNBA even more in focus than what it is now. Even though
I agree.
it's
I agree
trending
with
this
that.
way, that even helps you know more about certain players that you don't hear about. Like
Yeah.
I didn't know who
Mhm.
Sabrina was until I saw that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Yeah.
Once I saw that, I was like, "Oh, this mug, she out here balling."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, and she almost beat Steph Curry. So it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's so that's what I would like to see them do. At least bring that back. If you're gonna try something, it might have to be other events because the All-Star game is not, it's not doing anything.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you have to
Yeah.
make other things pop for us to view it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We are at the end. Anybody have any closing arguments or forgotten players that they may want to mention?
Go ahead, Big Will. You didn't throw one out in a
Yeah.
while.
Okay.
Cool.
Look. All right.
What you got?
I have a closing argument. This is what I would like to say to the people that love sports and enjoy sports. We have to take the malice out of it, and when I say that is, it's got to be fun again. I think what has happened for fans, we have too much hate for each other built up, and maybe I'm overlooking at it, but it's so cool. It's okay to have the banter without the hate. I give Cowboy fans, uh, I give Cowboy fans a lot of crap, but I'm still friends with a lot of them. We, obviously historically, we know that it's, we know the history of Philly and Dallas and that hate and Green Bay and Chicago, even going
Mm-hmm.
back to the Christmas story and the dad and how he felt about, the opposing teams in the division. But we still have to make it fun. We have to get to where this can be fun. I think so many people have turned this into something where it's almost gotten hateful, and I don't like it. It's distasteful. I want us to be able to be like, me and Adrian, where I am a diehard Rams fan and he is a diehard San Francisco fan. And while we do not like each other's teams, it doesn't have to be any hate towards each other. We have a little fun banter back and forth. I just want to see us have fun with it if we're going to do it. It's all in love.
Mm-hmm.
Sports is supposed to bring people together.
No
And
argument.
there's enough hate in this world,
Yeah.
and we don't need sports to make it more hateful. It's okay to
Yeah.
dislike another team. It's not okay to hate another person because they do not like the
No.
same team as you or they like a
Thanks.
different team. And
Sports
so
is supposed to be our escape. Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
So let's have fun again with it. Let's not make it so distasteful and so hateful. And that's what I have to say about that.
That's a good take.
That's a great take.
Mhm.
Watch
So-
the games instead of listening to the talking heads. I think
There
that
you
is a great way to start doing that. Yep.
Yeah. So
I love
thank
that
you
take.
for everybody that listened. Thank you guys for joining me on this beautiful day. And we will be back on the next episode. See y'all. Appreciate you. Peace out.
Yes, sir.
Have a
All
good
right.
one.
Peace.
Good job.